So there was a lot of work right out the gate, even when you're dating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why do you sound so confused by that?
I feel like in dating, it's a little more honeymoon phase-ish where you're like, oh, this is great. Let's go on adventures together.
I actually think that's refreshing though, because it's the first time we've heard that, but that's actually how marriage is. So I feel like all dating experiences should start that way.
What, really rough? Just
Yes,
throw people right in the fire.
I say this in the book. I literally, so you got to read Loved Enough, and we have to have a conversation afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel
please.
like with dating, you put on such a facade for so long, and you're just trying to impress each other, and you're trying to you just BS your way through it pretty much. And then you get into marriage, you're like, oh my God, I'm stuck with you. Let's figure this out.
I'm glad that's how you feel, babe. Glad that's how you feel. Okay.
On the days that I don't like you, I love you always.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like dating, we miss that because
Yes.
whenever you get tired of each other, you go home and it's like, oh, I don't need to see him today or tomorrow. Well, marriage is different. And I love that. I love that you guys worked through it before you got there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to have a balance because it was also very hard for us to have that much work to do so early on when we had so little foundation to stand on. But I totally agree. It's so important to do the work. Dating can absolutely be fun and all of the things that it is, but if you don't start the work until you get married, I mean, this is why so many marriages and relationships fail, because people are not ready to do the work. They're not willing to do the work. The grass is greener and it's just it starts. And I am really grateful that we had that opportunity to just be like, oh my God, we're such different people, but we want to be together. So how do we make this happen? And then we made it happen.
It's probably it's why there's never been a question in our marriage, no matter what comes up. There's never been is this going to work or not work?
Yeah.
Because we've done such deep work from the beginning. And it's funny, but it's funny that you were like, that's so interesting that it was hard at the beginning, because we have this myth that dating should be a thing, that we should have a honeymoon phase, right? But should we? Is it actually good for us? Look at our divorce rates. Look at and the marriages that make it. How many of those marriages are actually happy? Or are they staying together for kids or for other financial reasons? Is there really joy and love in a lot of marriages today? And we have to ask ourselves, are we marrying the right people? And how do we know? And so it kind of goes back to our faith. Like in the Baha'i faith, we're told that we should be investigating character.
Right.
So it doesn't matter who you are or what your sexual orientation is or your gender. It's like, well, how are we dating? Are we dating from the outside in or the inside out? So we should be investigating one's character while dating. And I make a joke in Loved Enough that forget about honeymoon phases and forget about romantic first dates and trying to sweep people off their feet, like all these Disney movies have brainwashed us to do. The best first date, you want to have a real idea if you're going to be with the person, do therapy. Can you imagine if we normalize that shit? Can you imagine if if a first date was a therapy session and we're like, hey, let me get all my shit out on the table. You would know pretty quickly if this is the person that you want to be with. But yet what we do is we just prolong the process. We fall madly in love with each other from the outside in. We confuse ourselves with all of the dopamine and the sexual hormones. We replace conversations with sex and physical intimacy. And then we end up with somebody that we don't know. And then you finally get married. You have your honeymoon phase. It's awesome. The sex is great. We're together. And then shit hits the fan. And you realize you have no foundation and you have to build it in real time. It's like living in a house while you're building it from the ground up. How do you live in a place where you're trying to build a foundation?